Now, I'm not one to gossip, but I will bring you the tea. Welcome to Chronicle Speaks.
Please, I don't have any time for any gossip now. Eh? Yes.
Look at you.
So I actually contemplated on doing this story, but certain crimes need to be exposed no matter who the person is or who they may be related to. So on that note, here we go. Shirley Strawberry of the Steve Harvey Morning Show has written her own strawberry letter defending her husband who's been accused of doing the unthinkable. And you'll hear that letter exclusively today on Chronicle Speaks. Her husband, who everyone calls Ernesto, but whose real name is Ernest, has been arrested on bank fraud, operating a credit repair company, cashing a fraudulent check, carrying a sawed-off shotgun, and certain lewd offenses that have him forbidden from being around children under the age of 18, and also certain offenses that have him forbidden from being around animals. Ernest would get arrested for going to a petting zoo at this point. We are going to break down this strawberry letter and so much more, but before we do, please be sure to subscribe to this channel and hit the bell for notifications so you don't miss out on any news regarding this case and so much more. Now let's get back into it. Now Shirley just knew she had hit the jackpot once Steve introduced her to an entrepreneur named Ernesto Williams. She was swept off her feet when he proposed to her on the radio, but when she didn't catch on to his voice the whole time Steve was talking to him, I said, Shirley doesn't know this man well at all. And boy, was I right.
Would you take care of her before you took care of yourself?
Yes, sir.
Okay then, Shirley,
Yes.
this your man right here. What?
It's Ernesto.
Wait a minute. Now, Ernest is a longtime career criminal with charges dating back to the late 80s and felonies dating back to the early 2000s. So the question I have is, was a background check not ran, or was Shirley just a strong believer that an old cat could turn new tricks? Well, new tricks he did. Ernest opened up a 24-hour barbershop for the who's who in Atlanta, and people from all over came to visit it. NFL players, NBA players, he had all types of clients. He also owned and operated Nesto's elite private security company, which provided unarmed security for those that needed it. Outside looking in, it honestly seemed like Ernest was doing pretty well for himself and establishing an honest living. That was up until October of last year, when his world came crashing down. Roswell police have arrested 2 people in connection to a $1 million scheme. Investigators say 57-year-old Ernest Williams and 46-year-old Erica King convinced people to pay them for their business expertise. They would align themselves with their victims with promises to be able to grow their brands, their missions, their life goals, their social media following. Police said Williams and King acted the part and people paid good money for their services. However, investigators say they never provided any services and it was all a scam. We know about more than a dozen victims and over $1 million in monetary and property loss. Roswell detectives first began looking into Williams and King in June regarding a case of rental fraud at a property on the 900 block of Pine Grove Road. Once detectives started looking into their financial transactions, it led them to the extensive business scheme. Williams and King both have multiple charges of fraud, forgery, and theft against them. Police say Ernest Williams also goes by Nesto. Erica King also goes by Erica Hughley and Erica Hughley Rothschild. So honestly, that was a lot to unpack, but let's get into this property and the unpaid rent that led the police to even investigate Ernest in the first place. This spectacular 5-bedroom, 6.5 bathroom, 8,500 square foot Roswell, Georgia home was housed by Shirley Strawberry and Mr. Ernest Williams. The couple paid over $8,000 a month to rent this beautiful home, and rent was currently due for the month of April, May, June, July, and August, totaling over $39,000. Now, the company filed a dispossessory affidavit against not only the couple, but against the couple's companies. That's when the notice of possible rental fraud came into place, and the police decided to research to find out exactly what's going on. And that's when they found the whole scheme that Ernesto, or Mr. Ernest, set up. I don't know why, but I feel this in my spirit that Shirley kind of knew this was about to go down. And the only reason why I say that is because she owned a home in Inglewood, California. And in February of 2022, she had Ernest's name taken off of the home by doing a non-arm's length transaction. And what that basically means is that both the seller and the owner know each other, and they can do a quit claim deed to pretty much get his name taken off of the property. And that's what they did. She had the home deeded back to her name only, and 3 months later she sold it. However, nothing would be connected to her husband, and she would be able to protect her own assets. Just my thoughts. So the charges start coming in for Mr. Williams, starting off with theft by deception, telling someone that you would help their finances, boost their credit, their social media, everything that both he and Erica were telling people that they could do but never did. Then we have 5 counts of conspiracy to commit a felony. 2 of those charges were later dismissed, and the bond went from $75,000 to $15,000. Then we have theft by taking, operating a credit repair service, and theft by deception. So we do actually have a copy of this indictment, and in this indictment, they are accusing Ernest of theft by taking, saying that between the 24th of July 2020 through the 16th day of September 2020, he did unlawfully take the United States currency of a value of at least $5,000, but less than $25,000, the property of Calvin Cawthon, with the intention of depriving said owner of said property. And they are connecting this with count number 2. And in count number 2, they're saying that he operated a credit repair service. And in that service, he did let Mr. Calvin know that he would improve his credit history, and he charged him to do so. Then Ernest is facing the charge of theft of services and deposited account fraud bad check. So he ends up going to a Chrysler Dodge dealership, getting a car fixed, and he wrote a check for less than $5,000 but more than $1,500, and the check did not go through. So they are saying that he deceived the company. He got arrested for that too. And last but not least, there were 5 different counts totaling $800,000, $200,000 for each count, of a child depicting themselves in ways that a child should not be depicted, and him being in possession of these depictions. So the thing is, these charges came about actually 4 months after all of his other charges came about. So I'm thinking that the government is going through information, going through pictures, going through documents, and they ended up finding this. Now with his crimes, there are 11 different victims they are stating that he needs to stay away from. Shirley Strawberry's daughter is one of them, and her daughter's children. He is also being told to stay away from animals. So let's get into this Strawberry letter written by Miss Shirley Strawberry herself. This is her affidavit. My name is Shirley Strawberry. I am over 21 years of age and I reside in Fulton County, Georgia. The facts in this declaration are based upon my own personal knowledge. I am the wife of defendant. My husband is listed defendant in case number before the Fulton County Superior Court. I have been told in 1 or more cases pending before the court, I have been identified as either a victim of his or witness to a purported criminal act of his, to which I respond that I am neither. It is my intention that the court know once and for all that I am not afraid of my husband, that I wish for him to be released with no conditions as regards me, that I wish for him to be able to reside with me or wherever he elects to reside, and that his release be effectuated immediately. It is further any declaration that I have never made known to anyone at any time prior or since his arrest any desire contrary to that which is contained in this affidavit, and if any contrary understanding has been previously conveyed to this court or any other, they have been deceived. I have not been threatened, coerced, nor harassed in any way by any person to cause me to issue this declaration. So say I, Shirley Strawberry. Now, according to the assistant district attorney, there's like 15 more charges coming through. And at that time, I'm not sure if Miss Shirley Strawberry will be still standing by her man, come next month. Now, I'm going to end with a clip of a Zoom from Biodiversity Law. This was actually a recording of the hearing with Mr. Williams, and child, things went left. They talked about his girlfriend, him possibly trying to get away to Abu Dhabi to Shirley Strawberry's boss's house, and so much more. I'm just going to put a clip, but before we end the video, I need to hear from you. What do you think about everything going on with Miss Shirley Strawberry and Mr. Ernesto, or Ernest is what I call him? Leave a comment and you know how we do. We'll talk about it down below. Talk to you guys later. Bye.
We consider this person to be a flight risk. We have jail calls where he's talking about going to see his girlfriend in Florida, multiple times actually. We have a call where he was talking with his wife about going to stay in her boss's house. I'm going to leave out all the names here, as Mr. Lewis did as well, about her boss's house in Abu Dhabi, which is, of course, quite far away from here.
He's considered dangerous. There are several pending warrants that will be coming out that, based on their content alone, there's a great likelihood that he's someone who commit further felonies. Furthermore, without mentioning the facts of the case in front of us, children were involved.
355 days without indictment, 23 CP 215407. I'm assuming you want me to waive, Mr. Lewis?
Sure.
All right. I can say it if you want me to, or do you want me to waive?
I don't think Mr. Williams cares. Well, yeah, wait, Judge.
All right, 1, 2, 3, 4. There's 5 other felonies on there that have to do with nudity, let's say. No bond as of January the 13th, 2023. Free. Rah!
This last case that came about involves, if my understanding is correct, and I don't know because I haven't received discovery on it since it hasn't been indicted, a single photograph that was found on a computer that the prosecution, well, not even the prosecution at this point, I guess it's still the police because it's not indicted or accused, claimed was my client's, and that he was in possession of either the computer or the photograph that's on there. My client has never been accused of anything involving nudity or anything else with children. On one of the bonds, I believe that you signed, Judge, you tell him he can't be with his wife. I'm going to ask that you...
Is that Melody Scretchen?
No, it's the other lady, the SS lady.
Oh, Strawberry.
Yeah. So if you don't mind, let him be with his wife before we end up having a divorce matter in Fulton County.
You have to turn over your passport to Mr. Lewis. No further contact with anyone under the age of 18. No social media. No internet access. Surrender your passport, like I said, and you cannot leave Fulton County. Internet access and or animals. I've got animals. No contact with any animals of any kind.
Okay, no animals. Gotcha.
All right. Thank you much, Mr. Lewis. Best of luck to you, sir. You can leave the booth.
As always, thanks for watching. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, and hit that bell so you don't miss any of my new episodes.